California dreaming about you.
Hey guys, SimCoder here, and today we are going to address a problem that the Uber series now has, which is that Fuse Location API is deprecated, and some of you had that problem. That doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't work, it just means that Google no longer supports it. So yeah, since many of you seem to been having trouble doing this yourself, I figured I would just make a video and explain to you what you must change. Now keep in mind that this might be a bit confusing, so pay close attention to the video. But if you even with the video are not able to duplicate it yourself, then go to my GitHub. It is linked down below, and there there is the full code, so you can just watch it slowly and at your own pace. Please do keep in mind that I'm only applying the changes to the driver map activity, not the customer map activity, because it is the same and the difference is small. So I'll be doing that for the GitHub, but not in the video because it will take too much time. Yeah, I mean, let's go. One more thing before we start is that probably this isn't the best way of doing things, because the better way would be to have a service that would run in the background, but because this is simpler and we are able to make the code center it in one place, I chose to do it this way. So with that in mind, let's go into our Uber application, into the driver map activity. And in here, we are going first of all to define all the variables that we need from the get-go, so that all the errors pop up now and we know exactly what we must change. So the first of which is fused location provider client, which is the updated fused location API. So let's give it the name of mFused location client. And I found all of this code in a Stack Overflow thread, so I'll probably link that down below as well. And okay, so mmap, we no longer need Google API client, so we can go ahead and remove that. We do need the location request, so yeah, let's copy the mFused location client. We can now delete this if in the beginning on the onCreate view, and let's use the mFused location client by saying location services dot get fuse location provider client this. Okay, I'm going to paste this below, just make the code a bit more simple. Okay, and before we go on with the code, because the onCreate method is done, let's go up top, and now we are going to delete some of the implements that we no longer require. So the first of which is the Google API client, and the second, Google API client on connection failure listener, and we also don't need the location listener. So this new API works a bit differently. It requires less junk in between quotes. So yeah, and now some errors should pop up in your project, but don't worry, we'll fix them right away. So let's go below into, in here on the OnMapReady, and now the changes begin. So yeah, we are going to remove the build Google API client completely. We no longer require it. We are going to remove this, okay, and also remove this. So all that you should be left with is mmap equals to Google Map. Next up, we are going to say mLocationRequest And actually we are going to copy this because we already have it. So go down below into onConnected, and since we are down here, you can go ahead and delete all of these methods: onConnected, onConnected suspended, and onConnection failed. Okay, and after that go up top and simply paste that in here, because it is the same. We are just doing it in a different location. So now we are going to check for the permissions, and I'm copying this straight from the thread of the Stack Overflow thread that I just talked about. So he did it in a good way, good and easy way, so I'm going to just use it because it is good in my opinion. So android.os.build.version.sdk int, and this is just to check which version we are using, or better yet, the user's phone is. So not this, build.version codes.n for marshmallow. Okay, and if this is the case, then we want to do, let me just check. Yeah, we will now check if the permission has been granted, and if it isn't, then we must ask for permission, just as we did with the Fuse Location API previously. So now we say if context compact check self permission this comma manifest dot permission dot, and now we want to access the find location, so that is what we are going to ask for. Close that off, equals to package manager, and now we check to see if it is granted, so permission granted. If this happens, so that this means that we have the permission, then we won't do anything. But if the permission hasn't been granted, then we must check location permission, and this is a function that we'll create in a second. So you can go ahead and click Alt Enter Enter, and it will create it for us. Okay, and now just to go on the roll, I'm going to complete this function, and I'm going to leave this onLocation change because we'll use the code that's inside it in a second, so don't remove it yet. And okay, so now we'll actually, let me check right here. Okay, so now we are going to check for permission again, so we can actually copy and paste this line of code right here. The difference is we are going to say different from, so place an exclamation point in here, so that we are double checking basically, just to make sure. And now if activity compact dot should show request permission rationale, this comma manifest permission, not this, manifest dot permission dot access find location. Okay, then we are going to create an alert dialog for the user to actually go ahead and give us the permissions. So we say new alert dialog dot builder this, I say set title, and you can go ahead and set wherever you want. So give permission, I'm going to keep it simple. This is just for the older devices that don't do it right away. Dot set message, you can as well do that. I'm going to just place a message here so that you know that you can do it yourself. Message dot set positive button. So I didn't explain to you, but an alert dialog is kind of a pop-up window that gives the user some options, and in this case we only have a positive button which will have the text OK, comma, new dialog interface dot on click listener. And when we click the dialog in the button OK, we should take the user to the place where he can actually give the permission. So activity compact dot request permission driver map activity dot this, comma, new string, and now open bracket and say manifest, and I'm actually going to copy this because it is manifest permission access find location, which is the permission that we want. So this is what we are going to ask for, and then give a name that we are going to say 1, which will be the request code, which is what is given to us at the end of the request for us to know if it was successful or not. So next we must say create and show. Okay, that's done. And let me just check if no errors pop up. Okay, in here it is done. And now we must say else for this if. So let me check. Okay, if not this one. Okay, in here. So say else activity compact request permissions, and just repeat this line of code. You can copy that, go in here, paste it, because we don't need the dialog in that case. Okay, so yeah, now that's done. Let's work on the let me just check. Let's work on the OnRequestPermissionResult, which we don't have the code for yet, but it is this one. So I'm going to remove that line, and I'm going to just bring it up top to below our check location permission, just keep things coherent. Now in here it is 1, and I'm going to make a couple of changes so that you don't have to get out of the application to make, after giving the permission, to make it work again. Okay, so now we are actually going to attach the mFuse location client and get the request for location updates. So simply go in here in this line, clear that up, and say if context compact dot check self permissions this comma manifest manifest dot permission dot access find location equals to package manager dot permission granted. And again, we must do these checks just to make sure that everything is as it should be. Then we are going to make mFused location client dot request location updates and location request. And now we are going to create a variable that we haven't created yet, but we will write up next. So mLocation callback, which will be the function that receives the data of the most updated location. So, but we'll do that in a second. And say looper dot myLooper. Okay, and then we simply set the location to enable. So mmap dot set location enabled, and we set it to true. Okay, and looper is given an error because we must import that class. So click Alt Enter Enter, and now let's create the mLocation callback, which will be really similar to a code that we have right here, which I told you we would need, which is this one right here. So let's go ahead and say, and I'm going to do it up top below OnMapReady, because I believe that makes more sense. So location callback mLocation callback equals to new location callback open brackets, close that off with a semicolon, and now we are going to create a function called onLocationResult. It will create it for you, so yeah, that's good. Can clear that up and make sure that when you import the location callback, when you go up top to your imports, it is this right here and not the GeoFire one, because they both have a function of the same, an import of the same name. So yeah, be mindful of that. So let's go down below in here, and now we are going to use a for, which will loop through the location results. So location results dot get locations, and in here it isn't capitalized. Okay, so the error went away. And now we are going to use the code that we have down here in the location changed. So let's just copy all of this. That's inside. We can clear up this onLocation change. We don't need it anymore. Can go ahead and come in here and just drop all of the code down there. So yeah, I mean, I don't believe there's anything left. Okay, if no errors are in this function right here, then better call it a variable. So if no errors show up, then everything should be fine. And now let's work on the final piece of code that we need to change, and it is in the onConnect driver and disconnect driver. So this is where the problem was. Many of you had this fused location API crossed, which means it is deprecated. So now in order to change this, we are simply going to grab the code that's in here and paste it in the connect driver, and up top we say check location permission, and the no error should appear because in this function we are checking for the permission that it wants. And to remove the location updates, it is easy enough. We simply say if mFused location client different from null, then we can go ahead and say mFused location clients dot remove location updates and location callback. And yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, so there's nothing left to do. We made the transition from the deprecated version of this API to the non-deprecated version. So now we should be working with no problems. I'm going to run the app really quickly just to check if everything is okay. And yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so here we are. I have my app loaded up and I'm also running the fake GPS location so that we can stimulate moving. And if I go here, go into settings, scroll down and click on simulate moving and have a moving distance of 10, for example. I believe it is in meters. Click run. Okay, it is running. Now I can go back to the app and click working. And as you can see, it pops up in the database right away, and it is changing, and that means that it is updating and we are able to run the app as usual. And if we click stop, it will stop and it will go back to normal. Can click again. Okay, so yeah, it is working as it should be. Again, you have to do the same thing for the customer map activity if you want to completely remove this deprecated version, but I'll be sure to do it now and post it to GitHub so that you don't have any problems with it. So yeah, I mean, these extras lesson will be just for things like this. So if you have anything that you'd like to see change, then please do let me know down in the comment section, and I'll try to make videos that incorporate all of your guys' questions and problems that you have, and small problems like this, like the deprecated version and things like that. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I hope to see you again tomorrow, and ciao.